Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 2010 coming of age film Submarine. Now, Submarine is one of those films that, in all honesty, I had never even heard of until I was requested to check this one out. And I am really glad that I was asked to watch this film because I thought this was a remarkable, touching, and just visually stunning and just a spectacular film. I thought this was a gem, and I think it should be talked about more than it is. And I really enjoyed this film. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on the film, I want to give a special shout out to Ryan for requesting this review. And if there is another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal, my Patreon, or my Cash App. The link to all three is in the video description down below, and I will try to get your requests as soon as I possibly can. Now, Submarine is directed by Richard uh, Ayoade, and he is well known for his acting work. He was in the IT Crowd. He had a small role in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. He was also involved with that show creatively. And this was his directorial debut. And for me personally, this is one of the most impressive and one of the most technically sound directorial debuts that I've seen in a long time. I know this is a 2010 film, but if I compare this to other films that are from first time directors, this is really up there in terms of where I would rank it. Uh, I was mesmerized. I was blown away by Richard's direction in this film on numerous levels. It's slick, it's stylish, it's daring, it's inventive, it's innovative. It's got a lot of really great usage of camera angles, and it's unique, and it's just a very refreshing film visually in terms of the way that he worked with numerous different camera work techniques, as well as different types of film, because there's a Super 8 portion of the movie as well. So this is a film to me that has a slew of visuals in it and cinematography that is just top notch and absolutely tremendous. And it's really wild to me that he only directed one other movie after this and hasn't really had more work as a director, because this is just incredible. It's the type of film that you really don't necessarily expect greatness from a directorial perspective going in, because it's just a quirky coming of age film with a little bit of comedy. But when you see the movie, there's just so many shots in this that really just burn into your brain. The various different shots featuring the two romantic leads, spending time together on the beach or in various other locations at night, in front of a burning fire, or when they're using fireworks. The scenes that are in a lot of ways kind of fantasy sequences involving the lead character fantasizing about certain things are also genuinely striking. There's just so much about this film visually that just pops, and in my opinion is just so amazing to look at. It really does represent what makes cinema such a unique and such a wonderful form of storytelling. And I also feel that this is one of those movies where the direction massively elevates the overall film. So I cannot sing enough praises for Richard's direction in this, and he deserved way more praise. He deserves a lot more praise now for what he did with this film. It's every bit as good as something you would see from Wes Anderson from around the same time. Now, the film is also written by Richard, and it's based on a book of the same name that I've never read by Joe Dunthorne. But I'm curious about the book now because I really liked the film. So if I see that book somewhere, I might pick it up and give it a read. This is a quirky, fun, heartfelt, and surprisingly raw screenplay. At its core, it's a story about young love. That's really what it is. It's a coming of age story about this 15-year-old teenager named Oliver Tate who daydreams, who's having a hard time fitting in school, and falls for this girl who is in the same class as him, named Jordana, and they wind up falling in love. And it's very sweet, it's very charming, and you see how this affects him and Jordana, and the way that it's written, the way that it's handled, there is a certain sense of quirkiness to it, but it doesn't seem like it's forced. It seems rather genuine and authentic. And then when it comes to the moments of real emotion and angst, it doesn't shy away from that. When the relationship goes sour and Oliver is wallowing in his own misery and is having a hard time moving on, and then even the end of it when they patch things up, it's not really set up in a way where it's definitive that they're going to live happily ever after. They just stand there looking at the ocean and smile at one another. But it's not one of those things where it's a fairy tale ending. And this is also a screenplay that isn't afraid to portray these teenagers as typical teens who do things to fit in that are considered to be controversial or unnecessary or not very smart, like what happens with Oliver when he's trying to fit in and trying to impress Jordana. He winds up bullying this other girl, and then he does such a uh, number on her that she quits the school. And you are mad at Oliver, but you still understand why he was doing what he was doing because he's trying to impress this girl who uh, has been kind of into some of the same sort of stuff, some of the same harmless kind of bullying, and they wind up taking it too far, and it doesn't really end well. But Oliver, the type of person that he is, he still tries to reach out to this girl, and he even tries to still help her and apologize. But at that point, it's too late. But you understand why Oliver is doing some of these things. You understand why he's going to the lengths that he goes to. It's the kind of thing that happens with a lot of teenagers. They're young and dumb, and they're not necessarily thinking about the consequences of their actions. And this carries over to how Oliver deals with the potential of his parents breaking up, because he starts following his mom around because he's suspicious about her getting back together with an old boyfriend of hers, and Graham, who has moved in next door. And because of the fact that he's seen his mom spend time with Graham in the back of Graham's van, he feels like it's a desperate situation, and because of that, he reacts in a way that could be considered very impulsive and dumb, where he breaks into Graham's house and starts vandalizing it because he's trying to show Graham that he's crazy, and you should stay away from my mother because you don't know what I could do. It's one of those things where when you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. But when you think about it from the perspective of a teenager, a 15-year-old, and it actually clicks. And it makes sense when it comes to the way that he reacts and what he ultimately tries to do. And it also helps that there's just a lot of very quirky, almost kind of silly sort of stuff that's going on in this. Moments in the script where the fourth wall is broken. There's a meta commentary. There's a whole subplot involving Graham Purvis, who is this self-help martial arts guru who sees colors, and it's something that is still portrayed and mentioned throughout the script as this absurd laughable thing. Like, this guy is a joke. He's got a mullet, and he's talking about seeing colors, and he's a martial artist, and he's a total scam artist as well. And it doesn't shy away from showing how lame this guy is, but it also doesn't shy away from showing how lame Oliver can be. Like, the how he's easily pressured into doing certain things, and also how flawed in some ways his girlfriend is, and Jordana, and how lame Oliver's dad is, because the main reason why his wife is cheating on him is because he's just such a sad sack, and he's just not, being willing to be the same type of man that she fell in love with. He's just constantly depressed and moping around and drinking tea with a lemon and in the same cup, and it's been months since they've made love, and so it doesn't really shy away from the reality of what can happen with relationships, whether it's relationships with uh, younger partners or relationships with older partners. Like, it talks about the reality of both, and it also couples all of that with a really great soundtrack that's in the form of this mixtape that Oliver's father created for Oliver to celebrate his relationship with Jordana, but also to prepare him with some songs for a potential breakup, because it's the first relationship for Oliver, and a lot of the time the first fling isn't really one that lasts that long, and so his father's trying to prepare him for that, and I like that. That is another aspect of meta-ness that's applied to this script in a clever fashion. And there's other little stuff too that I enjoy, other little quirks, like when Oliver is down in the dumps after he and Jordana go through some issues when it comes to their relationship. He starts dressing and acting like his dad. He starts moping around the house. He starts drinking tea with lemon from the same cup and wearing the same sad clothes as his father was. And it's one of those things where I think some people might be put off by the quirkiness and think that it's forced, or it's something that's just trying too hard to be quirky. But I disagree. I think it actually fits very well within the tone of the story, and very well with the characters and the type of people that they are. Oliver is a very quirky kid. Jordana has her own quirky nature. So it fits that this is a very quirky screenplay that has a lot of quirks that actually do connect with these characters and match with their vibe. Even the way that the narrative is threaded together, even the way that it's structured is also very quirky and fun with the different parts and how it utilizes color in terms of how it transitions from one part to the next. And even the title of the film, Submarine, and how that is utilized and with some of the dialogue. And there's just a lot about this film when it comes to this story that I really loved. I felt it really tapped into precisely what it's like to experience young love and to also have a lot of moments in your life as a teenager where you start to grow, you start to actually take responsibility, you start to actually care about somebody in a way that goes far beyond the way that you love your parents or love your friends. Like it's something that is definitely a lot different than some of the other relationships that you have in your life. And it comes with a certain amount of positives, but also a certain amount of negatives that can sometimes weigh you down and make you feel like you're sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So, to me, this is every bit as good as some of the other critically acclaimed screenplays when it comes to a coming of age story. And I think it really is something that should be discussed more. It's a screenplay that should be talked about more when it comes to just its overall quality. Its sense of humor, its charm, the characterization in terms of these characters and how, despite their flaws, they're still likable and characters that you still ultimately root for, and you want to see them find a way to make their lives more memorable and also make their lives full of more love and understanding and uh, more unique experiences that only you can really have if you share them with another person that you happen to be in love with. So there is definitely a lot of passion here in this script and in this story, and it really provides it with a ton of heart, and it makes this story to me, despite the fact that there are some things about Oliver and Jordana that can be kind of questionable, it makes it into something that is infinitely and immensely charming and honestly rather fun to watch when it comes to how these two characters specifically grow throughout the film and how they ultimately fall in love and then stay in love despite some of the pitfalls that they wind up dealing with throughout the story. So yeah, I legitimately felt that this is a very very good screenplay. Submarine also has, in my opinion, an amazing cast. A big part of why this film is so great is because of its cast. Craig Roberts was perfect casting as Oliver Tate. I was really captivated and compelled by this performance by this young actor. Uh, he did a great job with the narration. He did a really good job when it comes to playing the various different aspects of Oliver and showing the shy nature of this kid, but also the sly nature of him, and then really providing this kid with a certain amount of charm, but also a certain amount of intrigue and a certain amount of sympathy. It was a very layered and nuanced performance, and I thought it was incredible. Yasmin Page was equally as excellent to me as Jordana. The chemistry that she and Craig had together was immense. And she also provided a lot of nuances and other layers and other aspects of her performance as well that stood out in a good way, just like Craig did when it comes to his performance as Oliver. And the rest of the cast is really great too. Just Sally Hawkins as Jill, Oliver's mother. Noah Taylor is Lloyd, his father. Uh, Paddy Considine is Graham Purvis, the cocky con artist uh, who is trying to put the moves on Oliver's mom, and the rest of the supporting cast too, like Gemma Chan as Kim Lin, Melanie Walters as Jude Bevan, Stefan Rodri as Mr. Davy, Darren Evans as Chips. Like Darren Evans played a great bully, the kind of kid that you really wanted to see get his ass handed to him. Didn't quite happen, so that was a little disappointing. But you did see a moment when Oliver did finally stand up to the kid, and maybe didn't completely succeed in terms of kicking his butt, but he verbally stood up for himself, and that was a major moment in the film. And it was only as impactful as it was because Darren Evans did a great job playing such a believable bully. So yeah, really a great cast in my opinion. Um, and the film features some gorgeous, just really stunning and wonderful cinematography by Eric Wilson. There are so many shots in this where it looks like something that you could uh, take a screenshot of, put it in a frame, and win some awards at a photography class. Like it legitimately is that good from that particular viewpoint. And when it comes to this aspect or this part of this overall production. The editing by Chris Dickens and Nick Fenton is also fantastic. It's also really good because it matches the quirky nature and the overall vibe of the film to a T, and it elevates a lot of scenes in this. A lot of the film's really striking and memorable visuals are really provided with a lot of moments and a lot of places for it to pop as much as it does because of how they're edited and how they're put together and how they're ultimately placed within the film. And the music by Andrew Hewitt is great, especially the original songs that were written by Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys, who I'm a big fan of Arctic Monkeys. So it was really cool to see Alex Turner do a lot of songs for this film's soundtrack. A big part of why this film is so great is also because of how good this soundtrack is. And it's like 97 minutes, but it never really dragged that much to me because I was so drawn into the characters and I really wanted Oliver and Jordana to find a way to get back together and make things work. And so that was always a driving conflict that was still consistently compelling throughout it. And I cared about Oliver and his parents, and I wanted them to stay together and find a way to work through their differences. And Submarine is one of those films that really just came out of nowhere for me. I went into this with relatively low expectations because it was such an obscure film, and it was a really big surprise. I loved it. I thought I really felt that it was a touching and just genuinely great film, and I think that it is honestly one of the best coming of age stories that I've seen in a long time. I think it's right up there with some of the best in this particular genre, and I highly recommend it. I think this is really a film that should be talked about more, discussed more. More people should be talking about this movie because I think it is really a diamond in the rough. But anyway, thanks for watching my review of Submarine, and until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.